All right, peace, peace. Let me say peace. And I have just gone live without any warning whatsoever. So if anybody's actually watching right now, if you can do me a service and just let me know if you can hear me. Um, I appreciate it. If you just let me know that I'm being heard. Just want to make sure that I can be heard before I start running my mouth. So, I know there's a delay. Oh, loud and clear. All right. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right. So I'm going to post the link. Okay. So if any of you all who are watching, and first of all, I want to say peace to everybody. Greetings. Hope everybody's doing well and appreciate you tuning in. This is an impromptu, just me pushing the go live button. But if any of you want to come into this Zoom um, to say something, to give some commentary on the topic, then by all means, please do so. So I'm gonna post the link right now, early, and so let me know if you can get in here. If you have any problems, just let me know. All right. I just want to jump into a conversation surrounding SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19, whether it's a hoax or not. As you see in the title, a hoax question mark. Is it a hoax? Mask versus no mask. That's a hot topic right now. And then the numbers, the stats, are they fake? Are they being inflated? All of that good stuff. So I want to kind of briefly touch on that um, tonight. All right. So if any of you all want to join in on the conversation or have some input for that, some information you want to share or some input, then click the link and come on in, because I don't want to sit here and do all the talking, although I'm more than capable of, but I would like to have a discussion. If anybody shares the same views as I do, or if you don't, you know, I welcome opposing views, and we can talk about it. All right. So again, I posted the link. So let me know if any of you all are trying to get in, click it, and have any problems. All right, and I'll straighten it out. Okay, so I'm gonna jump into the discussion though. Don't want to take too much time. Um, I was hoping somebody be eager to pop on in here like right away, so I wouldn't be in here solo. All right, so I'm gonna give some context for why I'm even live and why I titled this live session what I did. So as you all know, that we're in the middle of a pandemic, as declared by the World Health Organization back in February, I believe. And we're still in the pandemic. And since then, there's a lot of information that's been circulating on social media, good and bad, misinformation, accurate information. I mean, it's just a mixture of it all. And it gets really, really confusing. And it's built up a what they call a fatigue. People are getting tired of the information going one way, then another way. There's a level of distrust people have. Well, even before the pandemic, there's a lot of distrust people have for government agencies and things like that. So this doesn't make it any better when it seems like even the administration is giving us mixed information. So that's just pouring gas on the issue. And out of that comes a lot of conspiracy theories. A lot of people are throwing their own biases, their own personal opinions, and how they feel about the government, this government, other countries' government, one worldism, and all kinds of things. Even specific to people like Bill Gates, Anthony Fauci, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of talk going on. And in the meantime, people are getting sick and people are dying. All right. Um, and more people are finding out, firsthand, is hitting close to home now that some time has gone by. Somebody If it's not you yourself, it's somebody that you know. And if it's not somebody that you know, it may be even a family member or wherever the case is. All right. So I'm raising these questions. Is it a hoax? Mask or no mask? Are the stats faked? And things like that, because that's what the talk is about, especially lately. Now that the media has refocused back on the pandemic and kind of come away from the police brutality and the viral videos with George Floyd and the others recently. Now the focus is kind of going back on the pandemic, and so now that talk is coming up more and more again. All right, so and see how I'm just kind of um, just rambling right now. I'm trying to buy some time to see if anybody will come in here and join me in having this discussion. I don't want this to be like a lecture, and but I'm gonna monitor the chat then. So if people are not want to come don't want to come in here and have this discussion with me, then by all means type it in the comments because I can see the chat. All right, so let me say peace to everybody. I see peace to Benita, Indonesia 5000, Don Williams, peace. Unbiased Sports, what's up? Peace. Chavis, Sister Mika, Too Smooth. So peace to everybody. Appreciate you all tuning in. All right. And a matter of fact, I'm gonna share this on my Facebook channel real quick. Give me 1 second to share that. Now, okay, so let me give you a little more context. So not last night, but actually the 4th of July. I don't celebrate the 4th of July, but on the 4th of July, I went live on Facebook for a short minute. And I went live because I had made a post on Facebook. And based on the comments on my post, I went live because I don't like to go back and forth on my comments if I find myself repeating myself. Once I start repeating myself and I see that people are not reading the previous comments, because sometimes when people comment, it starts, your comments gets lost because there's so many comments and nobody wants to read through all of the comments. So I went live just to have a discussion, to save time from typing. And the actual person that I went live for was nowhere to be found. They had a lot to say on my post and they were posting when I went live, but then when I went live, they seemed to disappear. And that happens a lot. So I've had a similar discussion on the 4th. And so if you're friends with me on Facebook, you can check that out. And I'm basically kind of going to repeat some of the things I said on the 4th now. All right. And I'm wondering if anybody would click on the link to at least let me know that it's working. I'll feel better knowing that it's working and nobody's coming versus nobody's coming because it's not working. All right. So if somebody could click on the link, even if you don't want to stay, just click on the link and let me know that it's working. I would appreciate it. All right. So I'm posting the link again. All right. So let me jump in. He said, everybody said, I'm just listening for now. Okay. I don't know. I guess people are scared. All right. So, okay. So the first thing, mask. All right. Now, here's the thing about the mask. It's been brought to my attention quite a few times. People send me things. People send me clips of videos and or articles and things about the mask. And so the claim is that masks are worthless. It's pointless to wear a mask. All right, that's the claim. It's pointless. And the reasons given that it's pointless is because here's one of the main reasons why it's pointless, or people are saying or claiming that it's pointless, is that the SARS-CoV-2 virus itself, or the novel coronavirus, the size of it is rated at 0.1 micron. All right. Now, even if you don't know what a micron is, it you'll still be okay. All right. But I encourage you to look this up. It's a micron, zero point 0.1 micron. All right. Now, there are three main types of masks that people are wearing. One is the standard everyday cloth masks that people are putting on. They're decorating, it's become fashionable and things like that. So they encourage people to wear, if if you don't have access to the other types of masks, then at least wear cloth masks. All right, a t-shirt. People use a bandanas, and all kinds of things. So you have that category of face coverings. Another category of face coverings are the surgical masks. Okay. And then the third are the N95 respirators. So you have the N95 respirators, surgical masks, and the face coverings. All right. And so I see we have somebody popped up in here. So say peace. I can't see who that is just yet. But if you can hear me, peace to you. I believe it's unbiased. Unbiased.
Yeah, to close out the other one I was listening to. Yeah, so it's working.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. I don't know if you're staying or you
Yeah,
confirm
yeah.
that it's working.
I'll stay. I'm listening. I'll stay. I'm gonna go on mute. If you need me, just holler at me.
All right. All right. No problem. No problem.
Yeah, because I'm driving. So when I get home, I'll be more interactive.
Okay. Yeah. All right. No problem. All right. So back to what I was saying. Okay. Yeah. If you could mute, that'd be straight. I'm gonna mute you because I can hear your background, but you can unmute yourself if you want to have something to say. Oh, there you go. All right. So that's the claim. So the virus itself, the SARS-CoV-2 virus itself, the size of it is zero point 0.1 micron. All right. So we have three types of masks. Um, Now, out of those three types of masks, none of them will filter out particles, are rated to filter out particles of that size. Okay. So, for example, the N95 respirator is rated at a filtration at zero point 0.3 microns. So, the basic logic, and this is very understandable. If the virus is zero point 0.1 micron and the N95 mask, the filter, the holes are only zero point 0.3 microns, then the virus can pass through. And so that's a valid concern. That's a very valid concern. But people that are making these claims that masks are worthless, that's where they stop. They find out that the virus is smaller than the pores in the mask, and now they make the claim and they argue that the mask is ineffective and is pointless. And so because of that, they jump from there and then they say, well, the reason why they're telling us to wear a mask is evidence of fascism and tyranny. They want to control us. So they jump from there all the way to the conspiracy side to say, okay, they're trying to take away our liberties. They want to control us. This is an example of fascism and tyranny. All right. So they jump from there all the way over there. It went from one extreme and went over way over there. All right. So now, but here are the facts. It is true that um, the size of the virus is zero point 0.1 micron. It is true that the N95, for example, is rated at zero point 0.3 micron. But what people don't do when they try to when you look into this and study it is the fact that viruses do not travel in complete isolation. So, in other words, when people talk about the size of the coronavirus at zero point 0.1 micron, that's the size of the virus completely isolated and on its own. Viruses don't travel that way. Viruses travel by hitchhiking on other particles such as mucus, droplets, dust, other proteins, etc., etc., etc. You're not going to find viruses in isolation in the real world. They have to travel by way of other particles. Those particles are bigger than zero point 0.1 microns. All right. So that's number one. Then number two, the physics of the N95 respirator, the way that they're designed and their intentional design is not to be compared to what people mostly compare it to, which is to say, like here's the example that people are giving along with the argument. They're saying things like, if you want to block mosquitoes from biting you, and you're on your front porch and you want to block mosquitoes from biting you, you're not going to go out there and buy a chicken fence to block mosquitoes, because the mosquitoes can go straight through the holes in the chicken fence. And they're using examples like that to compare that to the mask and saying, well, the virus is point 0.1 and the mask is point 0.3, therefore the virus can just go right through the hole. Okay, as I said, that's a valid concern. But what people don't know, and they should look into, is the design and the physics of the N95 respirator. The way it's designed is, first of all, it's multi-layered, and then the mask is designed for the particles to stick to the fabric. So it has an attraction there, and it's called electrets, where the fabric itself is electrified, so to speak, and it will draw particles into it and it sticks. So the analogy of a fence and mosquitoes is a wrong analogy. It should be more so of a spider's web and an insect flying into it. Okay? So that's number 2. So it's designed for particles to stick to it. All right? And it attracts them. All right? Again, so that's number 2. Number 3, because viruses or virin particles, they don't travel in isolation. They either travel in straight lines if they're small enough, and because of the design of the N95 mask, the pores are staggered. It's going to touch a piece of fabric and be trapped. Also, if the virin particle is traveling with a larger um, droplet or larger piece, then it is known to ricochet off of other particles. So excuse me, I had it the other way around. If it's big enough, it travels in a straight line. If it's small enough, it will ricochet off of other particles and have a zigzag motion. And this zigzag motion, by the time it hits your N95 respirator, it will collide with the fabric and it will be filtered out. All right. So for these reasons, the N95 is a precautionary step in helping to reduce the spread of COVID-19 or the coronavirus. No one out there has ever claimed that the N95 mask, or any mask for that matter, is 100% effective. The same way that nobody's out there that claims that condoms are 100% effective against STDs or what have you. All right. So, what people are doing, they're creating these red herring or straw man arguments and then arguing against those straw man arguments as if they're winning an argument or making a valid point. And so so that's what I touched on the other night. And I wanted to reiterate that here within, you all listening now. And so if any of you all are of the stance or mind frame that masks are worthless and pointless, and you would encourage people not to wear them, I want to hear from you. All right. So again, I posted the link in the chat. I'm posted again. I want to hear from you, at least after hearing what I just said. Now, I don't want anybody to take me for my word either. So make sure you look up what I'm saying. Look up the physics of the N95 mask. And there's YouTube videos, there's articles, even the manufacturers, people that make them and stuff like that. Just go look at why they're made, the intention, and what they do. Another thing that's clear up, there's a difference between the surgical mask and the N95 respirators. N95 respirators are designed to filter out pathogens or particulates. They say airborne particulates, as they call them. The surgical mask is designed to filter in particulates. So, in other words, the surgical masks were intentionally designed to protect the patient from having their open wounds get infected by bacteria that comes out of the doctor's or physician's mouth. Okay, so it keeps it in the mask. So it doesn't protect the wearer; it protects the patient. The N95 is the reverse. N95 keeps things out and prevents it from coming in. So the N95 protects the wearer, and the surgical mask protects the patient or the person that's close to you. All right. So that's the difference between those two. All right. So I want to make sure that that's known and that's straight. And you can find that out. Just do a simple search on that. All right. And so there's some people in the medical profession that are wearing both. They're wearing the N95. And by the way, another thing to emphasize about the N95 has to be worn correctly. And by that I mean I've seen people, even I've seen people myself that will have one, but they're not wearing it correctly. They're pulling it down, exposing their nose, and it doesn't have a seal around their face. The N95 is designed to be fitted on your face, okay? And so it has to be fitted in order for it to be its most effective. So we got to keep that in mind. The surgical masks are not made that way. They have openings on the sides, um, and even under your chin, and so on and so forth. It's designed to filter in, to prevent you from talking, respiratory droplets coming from you outward. All right, that's how that's designed. So that's the difference between the two. All right. So again, if any of you all are of a difference of opinion and you feel that the masks are worthless, I want to hear from you. All right. So either, you could type in the chat, or if you agree, or if you understand what I'm saying, even if you may not have known what I've just said, please look it up. Don't take my word for it at all. All right. And by the way, as a disclaimer, I am not a physician. I am not a virologist. I'm not an epidemiologist. I don't work in that profession. All right. I have relatives, my sister and her and my brother-in-law. They're frontline. They are doctors. All right. So, but that doesn't their expertise doesn't automatically jump onto me. So I don't want to sit here and pretend that I am an expert. All right. But I do want y'all to look into what I'm saying. All right. So I'm just going to read a couple of these comments since no one seems to want to come in here. All right, let's see. But yeah, I'm gonna say peace to everybody again. I appreciate anybody watching, because this is totally unannounced. You know, um, and I do that from time to time. So please subscribe. All right, so subscribe to my channel because I will pop up on you at the drop of a dime. All right, hit the notifications, and if you have the time, tune in. I like interaction. All right, I like to have discussions. I don't like to dictate or lecture. I do teach, but that's separate, and that's a different thing. I don't mind that, but for things like this, I want to have the interaction. All right, so I'm gonna read some of the comments. Let's see. Nova Black says, I don't know enough. Okay, just listening in. All right. Everybody say they're listening in. Let's see. Okay, not sure how I got here, but I'm here. Okay, Queen Jet Black, peace to you. Okay, she says, I saw somewhere that the virus is airborne. I'm not sure what to believe. Weird. Okay, now this is another thing. I'm glad you brought that up. Here's another thing that should be clarified. And I don't want to just keep my picture up here. Let me switch something real quick. All right, there you go. All right. Got to change it up a little bit. Okay, but I'm glad you brought that up. So, that presents another issue. You may have heard a term airborne. You may have heard the term respiratory droplet or fomite. And then you may have heard the term aerosolized or aerosol. Okay, those are key terms that you hear in these conversations. Okay, so here's the difference between all of those. Um, the difference is, let me tell you simply, the difference is size. That's it. It's nothing spectacular. There's no rocket science with it. It's size. Depending on the size of the particulate you're talking about, you will describe it either as aerosol or a droplet. Fomite is usually if it hits the surface or whatever case is, but it just depends on the size. And so I forget off the top of my head what the cutoff point is for the size to differentiate or distinguish between something being aerosol versus a droplet. All right, so I don't know what that number is, but it is knowable, so you can look it up. All right, but that's the difference. So when they say it's airborne, airborne is a mechanism of transmission. So that's different from the size conversation. So remember, aerosolized and droplet is a conversation about size. Airborne, when you hear stuff like that, that's the mode of transmission. Okay. And so um airborne is more on the extreme side of the viral particles or the particulates being able to travel um with the airstreams. Okay, and so that's what they're saying. So when they're saying airborne, they're saying that the virus can travel longer distance than was once suspected. So instead of the 3 feet and the 6 feet social distance thing, whatever, if it is airborne, and this is what some are reporting, if it is airborne, that distance is much greater now. Okay, it could stay in the air longer, which means it can travel longer distances. Okay, time and distance are married at the hip. If it could stay in the air longer, which is time, it could travel further distances. Okay, that's what that means. All right, that's it. So hopefully, I mean, I know you didn't ask that question, but I just want to clarify that. Okay. Um, let's see what else.
Hotep,
Hotep, who's that? Sound like Mo.
Monica. What's up?
All right. Hey, peace, Hotep. How you doing? All
I'm
right.
good.
Good. Got somebody in here to so you got any comments on anything so far?
Yeah, I wanted you probably already answered it, but I'm not sure. Because I know people say this a lot in reference to how does the weather is the weather supposed to have some type of impact on the virus? And if they were talking about a phase two and don't look like we got out of, I don't know if I said that right, a phase two or a second wave. And we haven't gotten out of first wave. Is that possible?
Okay,
Or
yeah, that's okay. So that's another good point to bring up. So let's do this. When we hear it being described as a first wave and second wave, all right, we need to understand that this virus is new. That's why they call it a novel coronavirus. The word novel is new. All right. And when they use the terms of first wave and second wave, what they're doing is they're comparing it to the influenza behavior, because the
okay.
influenza virus is historically known to come in waves. So it will come in a wave, and then it would die down, and then it would resurface and come in another wave, and they call that first and second waves. But this virus, they don't even know. But what they did in trying to explain it, they use that language of a first wave and a second wave. But now, as it stands now, the data is showing that that's an improper way to describe it. And so you're going to hear epidemiologists, they're going to stay away from that language more and more now, and they're describing it more so like a brush fire, like how those California fires are. So basically,
Mm,
it's it comes and it just lingers until we actually do something and change our behavior to reduce it. So it's not going to be a natural first wave and then it dies down and then it comes back like how the seasonal flu does, or influenza, they're now describing it as a more so as a fire, as a brush fire, like those forest fires and things like that. When it comes, as long as it got something to latch onto, it's gonna keep on burning. Okay.
So so in that case, that's why I guess when we should have probably did the complete shutdown, like some of the folks or some of the countries did, it would have eliminated it from having like a host, so to speak, to latch to.
Exactly.
It would have
Exactly.
mitigated, it wouldn't not necessarily wipe it completely out, but it would have slowed it down from increasing its momentum.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that was hotly debated in terms of what the response, the government's response, and people are criticizing the government for not responding in the way. But see, that's a product, really, that's a product of the structure of our country. Because
Right.
remember, the states are sovereign. Like we have 50 states that are united under a constitution, but the states are sovereign with a small percentage of that sovereignty relinquished over to the federal government based on the U.S. military and so on and so forth. That's a whole nother conversation. But the states are constitutionally, they can make those certain decisions, and so the federal government left it up to the states to make those decisions, and all the states didn't do the same thing at the same time. And so and so to effectively clamp down, like you said, it would have been best if all 50 states would have pushed the same thing at the same time. But no, it unfolded gradually. Like you start off in Seattle, Washington, then California, and then it went all the way across to New York, and then some other states got involved with quarantine and what they say, stay at home, and all
Yeah.
that other kind of stuff.
Do you
And
think?
yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Do you? Oh, how I was gonna say. Okay, so with that being said, the okay, so some people are asymptomatic, right? And then the people that test. Okay, so they test positive with COVID,
Mm,
right? And then there's some who don't. They asymptomatic, so they test positive after maybe having some type of significant event or whatever. But so, do you think that the people who are okay, so the people who are asymptomatic, does it stay in their system the 14 days or whatever the time length is, and then go away, or do they does it remain in like are they always carrying the virus?
okay, that's another good question. See, that's good. I'm glad you came on here. That's good.
Yeah, I got some questions. Got some
No, no,
family
but
members who
no, but this,
tested, so I need to
listen,
know.
listen. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a virologist or epidemiologist, but I just happen to do technical work for doctors and for nutritionists for the past all this year so far. So I'm in the middle of these conversations. I'm in the middle of setting up telemedicine and in these conversations with these folks. So these are good questions because these are things that come up and are discussed, on both sides. So now here's the thing, with the coronavirus, because it's new, they not enough time has gone by for them to even know the level of um, immunity that a person will develop. And so what happens is when our bodies is attacked with a pathogen, our immune system kicks in and starts to develop antibodies to neutralize it. Okay. And so with this virus, it's a specific antibody that prevents the virus from attaching to our cells. And this, in particular, is called the ACE2 receptors. All right. So you all can look it up. And I'm just going to throw some words out there and you all just look it up. The virus attaches to the ACE2 receptors on our cells. And we have a lot of ACE2 receptors in our lungs, which is where the virus is drawn to which they refer to as a respiratory virus. And so, but it's in other parts of our body too. They found out back in March. It's with the kidneys, the pancreas, even the brain. So it's not just the lungs now, but so our bodies naturally will build up antibodies that will neutralize it and prevent it from attaching to our cells. And by it not being able to attach to our cells, it can't replicate. So the virus will be non-effective at all. Now, here's the thing. They don't know the level of immunity when that occurs, because they don't know if these antibodies, how long they will last and proliferate in our bodies, number one. And then they don't know if those antibodies will prevent a reinfection, or if the virus itself is still transferable, even if a person is asymptomatic, like you asked.
Mhm.
Okay, so what they have found out so far is that asymptomatic people can pass on the virus to someone else. And so this is why they're pushing testing, because if you are going to be around vulnerable people, either of age or have coexisting or preconditions or other conditions that the virus is a threat to, then you should be tested. And so they're pushing people to be tested because you can very well have the virus, show no symptoms or very little, to the point where you may confuse it for like just an allergy reaction or whatever, or just something mild, and not be able to differentiate it, but then you could pass it on to someone else. And so they still don't know the effects of the immunity or the level of immunity as of right now. And so that's still out there, and not enough time has gone by, and they won't know for a while. And so that this contributing to the push for people to wear masks, you know.
Do you think that, well, I think that's how the Atlanta mayor passed hers on, because she has allergies, and she said the same symptoms that she experiences with her allergies is what she have now. So she kind of like didn't think nothing of it, but and so now her husband and one of her children has it. So it's kind of weird. But do you think that the people who are have autoimmune deficiencies that take medicines to support their immune systems, do you think that they probably not less likely, but kind of have a defense against it?
Well, here's the tricky thing. Um, and this is gonna probably touch rub people the wrong way a little bit,
Mhm.
is um this idea of boosting the immune system. And I don't like to use the word boost the immune system. I prefer to say you want to optimize your immune system. And the reason why, and that may just be a semantic thing, um, but it's in the details that it makes a big difference, because what happens with this virus triggers what's called a cytokine storm. And what that does is there are certain immune cells called cytokines. And these cytokines will disperse in your body and start to send signals for other parts of your body to start the process of inflammation. And so histamines or certain things are released, and it starts to communicate and talk to each other, and you will go through a bout of inflammation. And then other cells in your immune system will start attacking healthy cells, and so on and so forth. So in many cases, what leads to death is our very own immune systems killing us. But it's caused by this particular virus, or and it's not just this virus that does that. So that's a big thing. And so if you boost your immune system to have a very, very strong response, that response can very well trigger a cytokine storm and do more damage than it will help you. Okay. So now back to what you were saying. So this is where it gets tricky, because there are people who have a less quote unquote strong immune system, to where the cytokine storm won't happen, but they'll be healthy enough to buy their body time where the antibodies can be developed, and then the virus can be neutralized over time. So it's really, really, really tricky with that. And like I said, I'm not an expert to get into too many details, but that's what is being said as of, as of now, is that you got one extreme, the cytokine storm, people with, the immune system and that immune response. And then you have, this is outside of people having other conditions. You got healthy people who have a quote unquote strong immune system. The immune system overreacts and then they have complications. But then you have people who have a more less reactive immune system. And as long as their body can buy time, because really it's a race against time.
Yeah.
If people understand how the immune system works, your body, you just need to buy your body some time, because really no doctor heals you. We really heal ourselves, and a doctor is supposed to assist your body in healing itself. And when it comes to pathogens, you're just trying to give your body time enough to build up the warriors in these different immune cells or white blood cells or whatever, to fight off whatever's invading it. And so the virus the virus is on a clock. So if the virus acts faster than your body's able to react to it, then damage will take place, and too much damage can lead to complications and even death. So that's what it's really about. It's a race against the clock and giving your body a time to adjust. And remember, what we're calling symptoms is really a signal of fighting. When when we get a fever, that means your body is fighting. When you cough, sneeze, all these reactions that we call symptoms, it's really signs that your body is fighting, you know. And so some people's body who are asymptomatic, their body's not reacting, but they're carriers. And that doesn't mean that the virus is not doing damage to them. See, one thing we can't do is associate the outward symptoms with the severity of what the virus is doing.
That's interesting.
Okay, because the virus can be doing damage to your cells in your lungs, and if your body's not reacting to it, causing you to have severe symptoms and aches and all these flu-like symptoms that people are describing, that still doesn't mean that your body's not being damaged internally. And this is something they're reporting, is that they don't know the long-term effect of having COVID-19, because everybody's talking about, well, death, how many people dying? Oh, not that many people dying. It's not that serious. It's just like the flu. You know what I'm saying? Tough it out. But they don't even know, the experts don't even know the long-term effects yet, because this is new. They don't know if you catch it, you fully recover, and then you may have some complications later in life, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, because it ate away at some of your lung tissues that are irreversible. They don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that Broadway actor, he has some effects, and it's affecting him. I mean, he I guess he got over it, but it damaged, I think it damaged his lungs, and so he's not performing at a high level like he used to.
Yeah, and remember, when we say somebody got over it,
Oh, yeah.
all we're really talking about are the outward symptoms. Like, somebody catches it and
Mm.
they go through these symptoms, and then when the symptoms go away, we describe that as recovered. But a true recovery is if and when a person is immune.
Oh, snap. So with that being said, um, so are you saying that it okay, so the 14-day mark, um, so you're saying that it can last longer than 14 days, or because it has caused damage in the body, that those effects, wait, clarify that again. Say it again. I'm confused. Not
All right.
confused. I'm trying to understand how long, like what is this lasting effect? I know it's new.
Yeah.
However, I mean, you made a comment that I'm trying to just understand it.
Okay, no. Okay, so the 14-day number that you hear talked about is a combination of the incubation period and the outward suffering of the symptoms.
Mhm.
So that 14-day usually encompasses both of those things. So it takes a couple of days for it to incubate. They say 5 to 7. And then there's a week of like, if you're gonna go through the symptoms, it usually lasts for like you're gonna go through it for a week. And so the 14 days accounts for that for both of those. And so that's all that is. It doesn't mean that the virus is gone out of you or anything. It just means that that's the time that if you're going to show some symptoms by, you should show something within 14 days. That's how come they say, okay, when you travel to other countries, they quarantine people for 14 days. They take their temperature and they just monitor them for 14 days. And if nothing shows up, they say, all right, you good. So that's where that comes from. Now,
Oh,
that doesn't mean the virus is gone out of you or that you're immune. It doesn't mean any of that. And it doesn't mean that you still can't transmit it to someone else. And
oh,
and that's the confusion that the World Health Organization caused last week when they made the statement that asymptomatic people don't transfer it or whatever. It was some quote that people took a clip of and repeated, say, see, it's a conspiracy, and they don't really know that they clarified that they were differentiating between pre-symptomatic folks and asymptomatic folks. And among virologists or epidemiologists, it's a difference. But to us lay folks, we treat it the same. Whether you pre-symptomatic or asymptomatic, it's the same to us. But to them, they're being very specific. Pre-symptomatic means that you got it, you could transfer it, and at the time you have no symptoms. Asymptomatic is that you got it. I mean, you have no symptoms at that time, but you develop symptoms later. Asymptomatic means you have it, you don't show any symptoms, and you never show any symptoms. So it's just a slight detail difference, but you can
but you
still
could,
transmit it.
but you could transmit it.
Exactly.
Oh man, wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
so with that being said, it's possible at some point, um, at the rate we're going with our numbers, that it's possible that everybody may contract it.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's possible with our modern lifestyle and the way people travel and stuff like that. I mean, that's a possibility. But
Yeah,
um, if people were to just adhere to the guidelines
right,
and stop with all the crazy noise and conspiracy theories, um, now I'm not saying now there are some valid questions and concerns, so I don't want to be dismissive and and
right.
and make it seem like everybody's out their mind. But there's some ridiculous things that are being said that's really detrimental and dangerous. People are telling people don't wear the mask. And so that's one of the things I wanted to address was the mask wearing.
Yeah,
Because if if I wear an N95 mask and you wear an N95 mask, number one, I won't know unless you show me a test or I tested you myself. I don't know if you are a carrier or if you are infected, and you don't know if I'm
correct.
infected. So it would just be better that you and I, if we're gonna come in close proximity to each other, you and I wear a mask.
Right.
That's just some common sense stuff right there. It's not 100%, so it's not the end all be all, but it will help prevent or reduce transmission. So it's like, why wouldn't I wear a mask? You
Yeah.
know. So here's another thing. People talk about death, like death is final. So
Right.
that's how people talk about this virus. But I had a conversation and I was involved in a conversation just about the inconvenience of being infected. Now I know this will hit home with you. I know you deal with insurance or you deal with different kinds of financial things with people in insurance and stuff being one of them, life insurance and health insurance or whatever the case is. So now, nowadays, because of the pandemic, if you, let's say you contract the virus, you're infected, but you show no symptoms, you happen to be one of those asymptomatic people, and you don't suffer through all those symptoms. But guess what? It will be a big inconvenience because the insurance companies have now listed COVID-19 or the coronavirus the same way they list other diseases such as cancer and stuff like that. So it's going to be very difficult for people to get these life insurance policies, or at least at a good rate. That's number one. Two, it's inconvenient because if you have the virus and you're infected, even though you don't show symptoms, you can't go around your loved ones, especially the older, your parents or whatever case is, or people that have these other conditions. You got to stay away from them. And you
Yep.
don't know the level of your own immunity when you're no longer, um, as they say, infectious. So you have to stay away from your family for an undetermined amount of time, and you can't get life insurance and stuff like that. So it's more to it than just people want to count people who die. Like dying is like nobody wants to die, but nobody wants to get sick either. Nobody wants to go through the flu-like symptoms. Nobody wants to be inconvenienced by not being able to go around their parents or other people and stuff like that. And you run the risk at your job and everything. So I brought that up because that's just a recent conversation I had um with that people forget about all of that stuff. You know,
Yeah.
if you
I
if you know you, and that's
agree.
if you know you have it.
Right. And if you're the adult and you have kids,
Mhm.
and you may live in in a different state from your family where your kids, that's is a huge inconvenience. So yeah.
Exactly. So let me just say, I just want to explain something else. So
Oh,
that so
let me ask you about the mask real quick.
okay.
Can someone? Oh, so what's the age group? What's the age limit of a mask? Because I know someone mentioned that little kids shouldn't be wearing masks.
That's true. 2 years and younger should not.
Okay.
They're saying 2 years and over, either over 2 or 2 years and over. And obviously somebody that doesn't have respiratory problems already.
Okay.
Obviously you wouldn't want that person to wear a mask. And they only suggest, see, these are guidelines. They suggest the wearing of mask if you cannot practice social distancing and you're going to be around people. Like if you are driving in your car and you are by yourself in your own car, wearing a mask, it kind of becomes it's like, why would you
Right.
would you wear a
Right.
mask if you're by yourself in your own car by yourself driving? That's where it gets funny. But if you find yourself being around people, then they suggest in wearing a mask. That's it. It's just that simple. Wearing a mask and wearing it properly. So that's the recommendation. But in terms of age, like you were asking, I think it's 2 years old. It's actually on the CDC website,
Okay.
the recommendations. So it's 2 years, and then obviously if you don't have any or if you have a severe respiratory condition, then they don't recommend you wear a mask. You just need to stay away from folks.
Right.
Right. So, but I want to show this on the screen. I don't know. Let me see if I could switch my screen over.
Okay.
I want to bring this up. Oh, but wait. Let me look at the chat because I done
Yeah, you
left
got a
the chat.
lot going on in the chat.
I done left
Let
the
me
chat behind. So hold up. So let's see here. Let's see. So um okay, where was I? Okay, G Deb said I read that mask use can reduce transmission. That's 100% correct. It's not the end all be all, but it can help reduce transmission. Aaron says I personally don't know anyone who's died from COVID-19. Yeah, I don't know anybody personally either. But like I said, my sister is on the front lines in urgent care, and they've seen it. She's described things to me, and it's not. I'm telling y'all, the way we talk about it is because it's out of sight, out of mind. But man, if somebody you know is going through it, if they happen to be a person who catches the symptoms and need to be hospitalized and stuff like that, it is not easy because if they get worse, they're in isolation. They're not even allowing family members to see people that have
Right.
severe cases of COVID-19. So if something fatally should happen and the person doesn't make it, you got to think about it. That person is
Yeah.
suffering alone,
Yep.
and not alone, but without the family. And that, I'm telling you, these stories are not to be taken lightly just because,
They're
you know,
not.
it doesn't hit home close to home, but that's not cool at all.
I have one of my friends. She was one of the ones back in I think April timeframe, and it was hard because nobody could go. It was isolated. Oh my god! And then not to mention you couldn't have a funeral. It was crazy. And I have a cousin. He's in prison and he's isolated. He called the first day and we had to start calling prison and flood the prison just so they can stay alive. And then his fever dropped from 102 to 98, so he's doing okay. Then I have another cousin work at Walmart. She tested positive and she has two young toddlers,
Mm.
and she have to isolate, of course, and so it's horrible. It is, and people do take it lightly.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, all this fluff talk and this wild talk is noise, and so that's, kind of frustrates me because I hear it, and
Mhm.
and and I hear it from, regular folks, and it's even among some of the professionals too. So,
Yeah,
it's
and
not.
you try to coach them, and you try to coach them through like some of the things that you hear that could be done, to try to keep them up. And they're in so much pain. My other friend here in Columbia, her boyfriend tested, and she like he be in so much pain, and he just sleep, and he turns red because he's real light skin. He turns red, and he just be so. It's like it's really heartbreaking, and because you want to help, but you don't know you don't really know what to do, and you try to offer as much information, and just to watch somebody or just to hear them go through the pain is just horrific. I
Yeah,
mean,
and that's what I'm saying. We gotta keep that in mind though. Like, people talking about it like as if they want it and that it's no big deal. They downplaying it. And that frustrates me because that's very dangerous talk, because I've seen people who are influential in our so-called communities, conscious communities and stuff, and they're talking about it and they're downplaying it. And they think all it takes is eat a lemon and boost up, take your vitamin C, zinc, and vitamin D and stuff, and you all good. That's not it. That's not it. We supposed to do that anyway, but that's not going to prevent you from being infected. I don't care what supplement you take. I don't care what food you eat. I don't care if you had the immune system of Superman. That does not prevent you from being infected. Now, how your body reacts to an infection will be based upon the how optimal your immune system is at the time of infection. Okay, so of course we want to eat healthy. Of course we want to provide our body with everything it needs to do its job. Okay, so that should be a given. But for people to think that that's it, they're crazy. Just like they're accusing the people talking about the mask, they're thinking that's the end all be all. That's not it. It's a combination of things. But let me just go through a couple of these comments. So Queen Jet Black says Farrakhan said the coronavirus in so many ways will get worse. Well, it's already showing that the numbers are going up. If anybody's been paying attention to the news, the number of cases are going up. A lot of states, matter of fact, today 12 states broke their all-time records for a single day number of new cases. 12 out of 50 states. Okay. So now, will the virus itself get worse, like more deadlier and stuff like that? I don't know. They don't judge the virus like that. They actually say a variation of the virus is more contagious, but it doesn't make people more sicker. Okay, so that's lingering right now as well. All right, so we gotta keep that in mind. All right, so let me go back up real quick, because I don't want to miss anything. I saw a good one. Now my thing done scrolled up too far. Uh, okay, yeah. Brandon says retaking in carbon dioxide. Okay. The level of carbon dioxide that would take is not a threat to our health. Now, unless you already have some respiratory problems, which they don't recommend you wear a mask anyway, you just need to stay away from people. The regular use, the proper use of a mask will not um, cause hypoxia or the loss of oxygen or carbon dioxide poisoning and things like that. All right, so that's a myth. All right, there's a lot of articles, a lot of YouTube videos that break that down and talk about that. Okay, nobody is being recommended to wear a mask all day. You don't go exercise. You don't run a 100-meter dash and then put on a mask when your body's in more demand of oxygen and things like that. We just got to be smart about it. All right. So, and then some of the N95 respirators have a exhaling valve that will assist in that as well. All right. So, keep all that stuff in mind. What else? Let's see. How do we know the COVID is not man-made? Well, I mean, it's been studied, and there's a whole bunch of articles and papers that show where the evidence shows that it's not man-made. Now, the details of that, I'm not prepared right now to discuss off the top of my head or any of that. So I can't get into that. I'm not an expert to be able to get into that, but there's a lot of studies that have shown that the virus is not man-made. All right. So you have to look more into that. Will says, why are you using the president's favorite word, hoax? Oh, yeah, that's okay. Here's Cornell says, here's a question for you. Do you believe the virus is a natural occurring or created in a lab? Okay, that's similar to the first thing. It's based on the evidence, it's naturally occurring. It's a zoonotic virus that is transmitted from animal to human and now from human to human. All right. And so based on the genome or the mapping of the genetics of the virus, they're able to detect and conclude that it's not man-made. And like I said, I'm not prepared to go into the detail of that. I'm not the expert on that to rip that off the top of my head, but there are studies out there, and this went on all in April, like March and April. So it's a lot of stuff out there from back then that shows that. All right. And if I have time, I'll pull some of it up for you. Okay. Um Patasar, I'm not afraid of this pandemic. Drink lots of orange juice and purify. See, we should provide our body with the nutrients it needs. All right. Period. Hands down. Anybody tell you otherwise is crazy. But I don't care what you eat or what you drink or the supplements you take. Um, that doesn't prevent you from being infected. When our body is introduced to a new pathogen, there is nothing in it that's going to prevent infection. It's how your body responds once it gets infected is the issue. Okay, so remember that. Let's see. Queen Jet Black. I wonder why some people die from this and some live. It's strange. Well, no, it's not really strange, because if we understand how the immune system works and we understand to the extent we can about this virus and what it does, we'll have a better understanding of why some people die and why some people don't. So I'm gonna give you for instance. The virus is known to attach to what's called ACE2 receptors. And this ACE2 receptor on our cells of our body is responsible for the constriction or restriction of blood flow or something like to that nature. And so a lot of people who are obese or diabetic or are taking some kind of medication to regulate blood um, pressure and stuff like that, they're very, very, very vulnerable because the virus attacks those ACE2 receptors. So those people who have those kind of conditions are vulnerable, and they will likely be a high percentage of people who suffer and may even become fatal to them, as opposed to a person who doesn't. All right. So that's just a for instance why we have to protect the vulnerable parts of our population. And that's another thing that people forget, that just because you're healthy or the next person's healthy doesn't mean that everybody's healthy. And so when we're involved with an epidemic or a pandemic, we have to be concerned about the vulnerable folks in our communities. It's not an individual thing. It's no different than if you are a parent and you live in a household full of children. You have children, and let's say you're the husband of the household. If somebody was to break into your house and you hear noise downstairs and somebody's breaking in your house, you're going to protect the babies. Okay, you're strong enough, you know that you could fight, or you're gonna grab a weapon and stuff like that, but your babies can't. Okay, your babies and your toddlers, they can't. They're not gonna do that. So you, as a responsible parent, you're gonna make sure you protect them. So likewise, when a pathogen spreads, a virus spreads in the community, we have to be concerned about the vulnerable, those who are vulnerable. Even if we are strong, our immune systems are strong, or we are asymptomatic and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that's what people are forgetting. Okay. It's not an individual thing. It's a community thing. And people will realize that if it hits close to home. Um, let's see, anything else. Can you believe mass media propaganda? See, I suggest nobody believe any, don't believe anything. Dig into it. Okay. You have to brush up on your discerning skills. Read the information, pick it apart, study it, compare um information. Do all of the above. Don't just read one thing and then run with it. Don't just read what somebody says and run with it and stuff like that. Now, I would never encourage that. All right. Even the stuff I'm saying, I don't want anybody to walk away and say, well, Joe said. Nah, don't do me like that. Let's see. Queen Jet, Fauci says the news is grim about this virus. Yeah. Um, it's the handling of it. Fauci is a criminal. Okay, I'm not sure about that. Fauci sometimes wears a mask, sometimes he doesn't. He's a lying criminal. Fauci in the testimony he gave, he wore a mask and he took it off to talk. All of them were doing that. So I don't know what that means. Sometimes he wears a mask, sometimes he doesn't. I seen him on Zoom interviews where he's not wearing a mask because obviously he's by himself. Like, duh. Let's see. All right, let's keep on going down. Great explanation. Fauci is a criminal. Okay, listen. This is for Pat Osar. If you believe Fauci is a criminal, that's fine. Don't listen to Fauci then. All right. Because whether somebody's a criminal or not doesn't speak to the accuracy of what they could say. Because to set that up is to say, okay, criminals, they can't be accurate. They can't tell anything or help you or whatever the case is. And that's if you believe he's a criminal. I'm not gonna get into that. I mean, if you have evidence that he's a criminal, then don't listen to Fauci. All right, find another virologist or a expert that's not a criminal. Chavis, virus has a genome sequencing. A fruit testing positive is not evidence of a fake virus. It's evidence of a possible. I'm assuming it's an error with testing. All right, let's keep on going. I'm going down, going down, going down. I'm looking for any questions or anything. I see. I see the chat is pretty lit up, going back and forth. Okay, California state capitol shut down after COVID-19 outbreak. Assemblywoman tests positive. Yep. Even the president, even the president's Secret Service, I believe it got up to 14 of them now. At first it was 2, then 8 more at a different event. And I'm not sure if they were the Secret Service servicing the president or the vice president, but I believe it was like 14 of them are in quarantine as of now, today, which is not good. All right. And that's another thing. The president is outwardly, overtly going against the experts' advice, the task force and the experts' advice that was put together to advise the administration. He's totally disregarding all of that good stuff. All right. So be careful. Let's see. Soul L. Everyone build up an immune system, get healthier, and focus on the here and now. At present, the only thing that will save ADOS is reparations. All right. I knew someone who personally passed. Wow. Condolences for that. This is not, that's what I'm saying. So here, like I have the question in the title. Is it a hoax? No, it's not a hoax. The coronavirus is real. All right. So we can definitely stop talking about it being a hoax. Mask or no mask, wear a mask. Okay. It's not the end all be all. It's not claimed to be 100%. It will help reduce the spread of infection. Period. That's it. Okay. Wear it correctly. And if you can get your hands on an N95 respirator, get those. If you can't, then wear something if you're going to be around other people. All right. There's a lot of videos that actually show the effectiveness of masks. And then you got people who saying there was conflict about that. At first they said don't wear a mask. Now they're saying wear a mask. And we have to understand that this whole situation is fluid. As new data, new information comes in, new tests are done, the information is going to adjust to that. That's how science works. It's not a religion. Okay. This is not the Bible where whatever's written is what it is, and that's what it's always going to be. Science doesn't work that way. Science is under the domain of evidence. If the evidence presents itself, the explanations will change. Period. That's how science works. If you didn't know that, now you do. Okay. So the initial data in terms of the mask, because there was a shortage and people were buying up the health workers types of masks, which is N95 and surgical masks, it left the health workers who are working on the front line vulnerable. So they suggested against that. Now that more masks are available, more companies have produced them in abundance. Now they're telling everyone to wear a mask. It's just that simple. Even cloth masks if you don't have anything. What else? Queen Jet Black, my immune is not good. Trying to build it up. Yeah, but listen, Queen Jet Black, remember, this is not just a little semantic trade of words, but you want to optimize your immune system. Okay. So this idea of boosting, we really don't know what that entails, because a lot of times our immune system is what damages us. These various different types of immune cells, from neutrophils, macrophages, cytokines, T cells, B cells, all these different cells have a function. And if any of them go out of whack and don't have that balance, then you run the risk of having complications, even though the whole design of the immune system is to protect you. Okay. But it doesn't care about about you as you. It just cares about getting rid of a pathogen. And if it thinks a healthy cell is a pathogen, then guess what? It's going to put the bullseye on it, and that gets into extreme cases. We have these immune problems where people have where your own immune system will attack you and things like that. But let's see anything else. All right, I don't see anything else. But so listen, let me go on to something else real quick. I don't know, Mo, you still there? Yeah, you still there. I'm biased. All right, but let me just show this real quick because I want to
Yep,
talk about
I'm
this.
here.
All right, so I want to move to a different subject, and this probably be just the second subject I talk about tonight. So I want to talk about the numbers. All right, that's the third thing I had up there. Is it a hoax? No. Should you wear a mask or not a mask? Wear a mask. Okay. If you're not by yourself, you can be around other people. Wear a mask. Wear them properly. All right. Do the knowledge. Do your research on the mask. Why they're made, how they, their effectiveness, efficacy, all that good stuff. Do that. All right. But wear the mask. All right. Now to the numbers. Are the numbers fake and stuff? So I want to talk about that for a second. So on the screen right now, everybody should see um these numbers. Now, I got this figure. This is a snapshot from today from the CDC website. And these are the stats on the flu. Okay, because a lot of people incorrectly compare the flu to the coronavirus. All right. That's insane to do, and I'm gonna tell you why. But a lot of people do it. So here are the stats on the flu. So, what are some of the things that people say about it? They say, well, the coronavirus is not that serious because more people die from the flu, or more people are infected with the flu. And look what happens with them. So, it's not a big deal. I think the coronavirus is a hoax, or it's a scare tactic. The media is building it up and got everybody scared to to control us. Trying to keep us inside and crash the economy. You got all these different conspiracy claims that come out of that foolishness, okay, by inappropriate comparing the flu with the coronavirus. So I'm gonna show you why it's retarded to compare the two. Okay, so on the screen are the figures for the flu. And basically what this is saying, the last flu season, which extends from October of 2019 to April 2020, that's considered a flu season. Okay. And that's the last one that we just went through. The CDC estimates that between 39 million and 56 million people were infected with the influenza and suffered flu illnesses. Okay, that's this if y'all can see my cursor, that's this figure here on this block on the top left. Okay. Out of those numbers, um 18 million to 26 million had medical visits related to the flu. Okay. 410 to 740,000 had hospitalizations due to the flu. And lastly, 24,000 to 62,000 people have died related to the flu. Now, these number ranges is because these are estimates. Okay. But for the sake of making my point, I'm going to pick the big numbers on all of these. The biggest number, 56 million in this case. Okay. So off to the side here, let's do the math. Where we at? Okay. So here's where people go wrong. This is what people are doing. And I'm gonna show you when I do it the same thing for the coronavirus. All right. So to determine what's called the mortality rate of the flu, you're supposed to take the number of infected people and divide that into the number of deaths. Okay. So like I said, I'm gonna take the largest numbers to work with it for the sake of being simple. Okay. So we have 62,000 people reported died related to the flu. Okay. There are 56 million people having flu illnesses or infections. Okay. So we divide that number by that. Okay. So we're going to divide these two numbers. So I'm going to put this number down, 56 million Okay. So we're going to divide those numbers. And actually, I should, for sake of time, I'm not going to put the division symbol and all that kind of stuff. Y'all just follow what I'm doing. All right. So what is that? Anybody with a calculator? Mo, I know you got straight A's in math. You can whip that out for us real quick, right?
What are we doing? 62,000 divided by how much? 56 million?
56 million. Yep.
Okay. This is 1, 2, 3. 56.
It's spoiled.
0.009287.
Okay, you got, what'd you get? I get something different.
Oh, yeah, so 56,000, right?
No, 62,000.
Oh, 62?
Yeah, 62,000
Okay, divided by.
divided by
50.
56 million.
Okay, that's my bad. Yeah. 0.00110714
Okay, so we're gonna keep it to the fourth.
to the fourth, so 0011
Okay.
0.0011.
Okay. So now what is that in percentage?
0.11%.
Okay, so that's less than 1%.
Right.
Okay. So I want everybody to follow along. So that's equal. I'm just gonna round it, right? We're gonna put 0.1%. So that is not even 1%. Well, now let's put it 0.11. Keep it simple. Okay, so that's not even 1%. That is the mortality rate for influenza, for flu. Okay, that's what that number is. So now let's do the same thing with the coronavirus. All right.
Okay, give me numbers.
All right. So let's take, now this is a snapshot from the CDC as well, because I'm gonna stick to the CDC, not the World Health Organization, because they deal with the globe. Okay. I'm just want to do the United States. All right. That's what those numbers are. The first numbers I gave, United States only, and these numbers, United States only. So let's do the same thing. So as of now, and I took this snapshot today, this is updated July 6th. Okay. You see it on the screen, updated July 6th. So the total number of cases to date is 2,886,267. The total number of deaths, 129,811. So you take the smaller number and divide it by the bigger number. So just do the same thing.
129,811 divided by, give me the big number.
Okay, 2,886,267.
167.
267.
Oh man. Okay. Hold on, let me do it again. Give me the top number.
All right, the first number is 129,811.
Okay. Bottom number.
2,886,267.
Okay. 0.04497. So it would be 4.5.
Okay, so let me write these numbers down.
Yeah,
Put these numbers down.
so the four yeah.
I'll just put it. So it's 0. What?
0.0497. The fifth number would be a 7, so you'd be 0.045.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep it to the fourth. Remember, we're gonna do the same.
Yeah.
Keep it to the
So we
fourth.
got round. So it'd be 0.0450.
Okay, but now how we?
Are you gonna keep the net? You got to round it then if you're gonna do 4, right? Because it's. Are you just
I'm
gonna
gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it out to the 4 like I did the other one.
Okay.
Remember, I kept this one out to the 4.
Right.
Out to the fourth place.
0.0449.
Right. Okay. So now let's translate that into percent.
4.49.
Okay. So now that's 4.49%.
Yeah.
So I want everybody to look at this. Okay. The mortality rate of the coronavirus or COVID-19 is 4. If we round it, it's 4.5%. Okay, but I'm gonna say what it is. It's 4.49%, but that's like 4.5. So you might as well say 4.5%. Okay, mortality rate. Whereas the flu is not even 1%.
Wow.
It's not even 0.5%. It is 1/10 of a percent. Okay. That's how ridiculous it is to compare the flu with the coronavirus. All right. Now let's go in reverse. Now let's say based on the now we have the rate. Okay. So now we got the rate. Now let's say with this rate, let's use the 56 million. So let's pretend that 56 million people become infected with the coronavirus. Okay, so let's do the math down here. And I know it's small. Let me see if I can make this bigger because I know people probably can't even see it. Let's make it big. All right, there we go. Apologize, y'all, if y'all couldn't read that. I'm making it bigger now. Okay, so let's do the math. All right, so let's pretend that the coronavirus spread as much as the flu. And we're going to use the number 56 million because I'm getting this number from here. This is 56 million in the last flu season. So we're going to take the rate of the coronavirus and we're going to do the math. So all we have to do is multiply 56 million by 4.49%. What's that figure?
Oh, hold on. 56 million divided by 4. Give me the number again.
4.49%.
$1.2472. Did I do that right?
Yeah, you just multiplying 56
Oh,
million.
you multiplied.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I ain't do that right. 47 times 4.49%.
Yep.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 times points. 2,514,400.
Yep. So this is why it's ridiculous to compare. Now that we went in reverse, we reverse engineered this number. If the coronavirus spread as much as the flu spread, what this is saying is that instead of just 62,000 deaths occurring, the number of deaths would be 2.5 million
Wow.
people dying. Okay. And I just want that to sink into everybody. So anybody that you know who brings up in a conversation about the flu and comparing it to the coronavirus in the way that people do to try to downplay it, stop them in their tracks. All right. There's no comparison. Not even the first wave, second wave conversation. Okay. That's where they get that from. The flu, the way the flu behaves, first wave, then it dies down, then it comes a second wave. Coronavirus doesn't behave that way. It's more so described now as a brush fire, forest fire. Okay. So I want everybody to understand these numbers. Okay. So again, I'm going to repeat. If the coronavirus infected the same number of people that the flu infected, we would have 2.5 million deaths versus what the flu has, which is 62,000. And I don't even want to say only, but in this comparison, I can say only 62,000 deaths out of 56 million. What percentage that gives us? It gives us 0.1%. Okay, that's the numbers you see over here. Let me make them bigger because I want everybody to get this. Because I'm not, I hope you don't think that I'm making this up or anything like that. You can do your own math, do your own calculations. All right. So I wanted to explain that. Okay. So let's dead that in the water. Let's kill that noise about comparing the flu to the coronavirus. It's not the same. It's not the same virus. It doesn't behave the same way, and it doesn't produce the same results. So stop people from comparing the two. All right. Now that's the mortality rate. So now let's go over another number that people talk about. Now that's another map from the CDC website. Now the CDC, you can actually keep track of the current numbers on their website as well. And this is a snapshot of it. I just had it up here to show. But let's do something else. Okay. So here's another number that people mess up and misconstrue. Is this is referred to as the positivity rate. So with that number, okay, well let me tell you where people are going wrong. This is what people are doing. So Mo, what's the population of the United States? Do you
I have
know?
to look. No, I had to look it up.
All right. Well, you do that because I
Maybe-
want you
okay.
to fact check me, but I
Okay.
believe it is 350 million,
Relation.
give or take. But I want you to check that for me.
This 328.2 million. Oh, this was in 2019. So some babies could have popped up.
Okay, so what was the number you gave?
Hold on, let me make sure this is the United States. Yeah, United States. Oh, wait a minute. Oh Lord, hold on. I went way back to 1920. In
Oh,
2019, it was 328.2 million. Let's see if we got 2020 numbers. Oh yeah, 2020 numbers, 331,002,651.
okay, so for the sake of easy numbers, I'm just gonna put 331 million.
31. Okay,
All right.
that works.
So that's the total population. Okay, now this is what people are doing wrong. They're taking the total population, and they're using that number to divide the number of deaths with the coronavirus.
And the number, okay.
Okay, and so let's see what that figure is. So now we got 129,811. So let's do that. Let me just put that on there.
811. Okay, divided by
Yep.
331 million.
Yes, 331. Yeah, 331 million.
0.003.
Okay, so hold up. You said
3 zeros. Points.
003.
Yep.
What's the fourth?
That is the 3 is the fourth.
Okay.
So it's 0.0003.
Oh, 03. Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's translate that into percentage.
0.03%.
0.0. Oh yeah. 0.03%. Exactly.
I'm already on the bus now. Quit.
nah, you're right. So now listen. So that is 3/100th of a percent. That's not even 1/10 of 1%. This is 300th of a percent. So this is what people are doing incorrectly. So let me grab these numbers over here. Right here. Oops. Let me grab this. Cause I'm gonna put these side by side.
Yep.
Okay, so on the right hand side is the accurate mortality rate. This is based on infection versus death. Infection versus death. It produces the accurate mortality number. What people are incorrectly doing, they're taking the total US population and dividing that into the number of deaths. And they're producing a much smaller number. And what they're doing is that they're taking this number, which is 0.03%, and comparing that to, let me copy this over here, to the flu number. And this is where people are getting that the coronavirus is less of a concern than the flu. That's why they're saying that. And that's incorrect. All right, so let me make sense of this. So this is over here.
I'm tracking total population.
Right. So this is total population. All right. I hope people watching is getting this. All right. So and this one is the flu.
Yeah.
This right here. So this is the flu.
Infection is flu. The flu.
This is the flu number.
Yeah.
For the mortality. All this is for the mortality rate.
Yeah, mortality. Yeah.
Okay. And this is for the coronavirus. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna put COVID-19. All right. So These are the numbers that people are working with, but this is why they're assuming the wrong thing. They're using this number 0.03 from the total population number, which is it's the incorrect way of doing it, and comparing that to the flu. If that's the case, that would be true. This number is way smaller than this number. 0.03% versus 0.1%. Of course, that's smaller. But the real comparison, or the real number, is 4.49 or 4.5%. That's the real number to work with, and to compare these two numbers. And as you can see, there's no comparison. Okay, so I just wanted to drill that home again. That's no comparison. All right. So now, last thing I want to say is another set of numbers. Now we're going to deal with the positivity rate. Okay, now the positivity rate, you need the total number of tests performed, and then the number of people that test positive out of those tests. So we got to go grab those numbers. All right, so let me see if I can grab those numbers real quick, because I want everybody to witness this, so you won't say that Ujah was making it up. So let me quickly grab these numbers. And if you all want to see where these numbers yourself, there's a website, one of a few websites. The one I'm going to right now is worldometer.info. Worldometer, one word, .info. And you click on coronavirus, and it's going to give you the real-time stats on it for the whole world, the whole globe. But you can go down to the United States and get those numbers, and that's what I'm doing. All right, so I'm going to the United States. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take a screenshot of it so y'all can see these numbers. All right, so give me one hot second. And I swear I'm going to be done in a minute. But I want y'all to see this, so let me take this off here. All right, so here is what I just pulled. Hopefully everybody can see it. All right, so what do these numbers mean? So let me pull out my arrow so y'all can see what I'm pointing to. Okay. So here's several countries, right? And all I'm interested in, I could click on the United States and it'll drill down for more numbers, but all we're concerned with to get the positivity rate is the number of people who tested, which is the number right here. Y'all can see and put the arrow right here. You see this number right here? It says total tests done in the United States is 38 million tests. 38 million tests. Okay. The total population, as Mo said, is 331 million. Okay, but this is how many tests was done. 38 million tests were done. All we need to know is out of that many tests, how many people have tested positive. We go over here to the number of cases. All right. What we do is we take the total number of cases, which is 3 million, I'm rounding, 3 million, and we divide that by 38 million. And that's going to give us our positivity percentage. So, Mo, I need your help again.
Okay.
So let's take the smaller number. So I'm going to give you the number, right? Tell me
Okay.
when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, so I'm just going to call up the numbers. 3040833.
Okay.
Divide that by 38217,640.
Point 0.0795.
Wait, zero, what's that? You said point?
0.0795.
Okay. 0.0795. All right, now let's translate that to percentage.
7.95%.
Yep, 7.95%. Now, if we were rounding this up, we might as well say 8%, right?
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so what does that mean? That means that 8% of those who have been tested for COVID-19, 8% has tested positive. So the positivity rate or percentage is 8%. All right, that's what that means. 8%. All right. So there's an 8% chance. So if we translate that out of 100, what's 8% of 100?
8% of 100.
Yeah, it's 8, right?
Yep.
Okay, so out of every 100 people, 8 people are showing up positive
Mm-hmm.
that have been tested, not out of the total population now. Out of those, so if 100 people go get tested, it's a high chance that 8 of those 100 people are going to walk away testing positive. That's where it's at now.
Mm.
Now that's over the whole United States. Now, if we were to drill down into particular states, that number will change. Some states are higher. Some states have a 14% rate. Some states have a lower than 8% rate. Okay, so I don't want people to think that the states are all the same either. But for the whole country, the rate is 8%, but some states are higher. And so, what does that tell us? That tells us that with more testing, you're going to find out whether somebody's positive or negative. But what they're seeing is that the positivity rate is increasing, which means that the virus is being transmitted more. Okay. Now that's counter to the crazy logic that President Trump and people who think like him have
Right.
by telling people to stop testing, slow down the testing. If you slow down the testing, there will be no cases and stuff like that. And it's like, of course the numbers are going to go up. If you test more people, of course you're going to find positive people, like that's
That's
some
crazy.
crazy logic right there. So anyway, I just wanted to cover that, and I'm gonna open it back up because I don't want to, be on here all night. But yeah, if anybody in the chat, matter of fact, let me get this link again. I'm gonna do a last minute roundup, a roll call, and post this link one more time. Let's see if I can grab it. Okay, I'm gonna post the link. So if you have any comments about anything I said or whatever the case is, I would love to hear from you. All right. I like the interaction. You got to make sense to me though. But I posted a link. So if you want to come in here, you got, some comments. I'm not trying to stay on here all night, but I just wanted to cover this and give my 2 cents on this and be a voice of reasoning. Like I said this at the beginning. I'm gonna say it now. I'm not an expert. I'm not a medical physician. That's not my profession. I have relatives that is their profession. My sister, specifically. But her expertise does not translate over to me. All right. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know it all or any of that good stuff. I don't want you to believe what I'm saying and walk away and listen to me and walk away. I want you to check out everything I'm saying. I want you to do your own research and stuff like that. What I'm doing is just offering a voice of reasoning and hopefully, you can look into what I'm saying. That's it. All right. Now, if you feel like the coronavirus is all a hoax, hey, more power to you. Okay. If you think people that are dying, and it's another thing, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't really want to long this out too much. But then you got people that are claiming that the numbers are skewed as far as the coronavirus deaths is because everybody that goes to the hospital is being treated like a coronavirus patient. All right. So you got that rumor, that conspiracy talk going on. All right. And it's unfortunate, but I'm not going to go into that right now. All right. So anybody else want to come on in here? All right. I'm gonna scroll back to see if anybody had anything to say. So let's see. Let's see. Okay, Zane's for the day again. I appreciate anybody tuned in. I'm gonna say peace to everybody. I would do a roll call. It would probably take me a long time. Okay, person one, young man, thank you for bringing math and science to discussion. You bring the same reasonableness to your discussions of reparations. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm just trying to chime in right now. All right. Let's see. They say they have tested. Okay, Shimsu, they said they have tested 40 million. Yeah. The numbers you see on the screen is 38. So, if we round it, that's correct. If they want to round it to 40 million, that's fine. So let me put the arrow over here. That's the number right there. So technically it's reported 38.2 million, but if we want to round it up to 40 million, that's no problem. 40 million people have tested and 130,000 have died. And that's correct too. If we round it as well. So let me point to that. So the number of deaths is right here. 132,000.
Yeah, Ujawa.
Yeah.
It's some biased sports. I was saying, yeah, no, you got to go into that. I had a discussion this Saturday with some brothers that was acting like the numbers are skewed. If you fall down the stairs and die, they said that they were told, a lot of anecdotal, experiences where they were saying the doctors say everything COVID-19. So no, you definitely have to do that tonight. Tonight, I need that tonight.
All right, I plan on doing that maybe tomorrow.
All
But
right, okay, then tomorrow. Okay, fine, tomorrow.
yeah. So I'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah, to be separate because I want them to listen,
Okay,
to
yeah.
the show.
Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. But let me just give a short and skinny of it though.
Yeah.
The people that say that, number one, they're listening to quacks. Because if you ask them where they get that information from, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna point you to a video of either an anti-vaxxer or a person who's just a known historical quack. All right. And they got some conspiracy thing, some my sister, my cousin who was underground in this secret hospital. They said this, that, the third, and all this other kind of crazy stuff. All right. But now here's where the confusion comes in, and this is the short and skinny of it. The CDC has been transparent. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it up. We can go into more detail tomorrow, right? But at least let me show this.
Yeah, please tomorrow, definitely.
All right, so let me show this on the screen. Where is it at? Okay, let's see. Cases. I thought if I could pull it up fast, then I'll show it. If I can't, okay, here we go. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna show this on the screen. I'm gonna share my screen. I want everybody to see this. Okay, so now if you can't read it, this is the CDC website. And if you, let's see what to search. I mean, basically the whole CDC website is talking about the coronavirus now, so you can't miss it. But if you look over here on the left table of contents, it's the cases and deaths in the United States. Okay, that's the name of this particular page I'm on. All right, so if you can't read it, that's where I'm at. So if you scroll down, it talks about cases in the United States, and then it talks about cases and deaths by jurisdiction. If you keep on going down, it talk about new cases by day, and you can see how July 3rd was the biggest single day number for the whole country at 57,000 new cases in one day. That's crazy. That's the highest since the entire pandemic. Okay, I want everybody to know that. Okay, now here's where we're getting down to what I want to show you all. Okay, now the CDC has been transparent this whole time. So all those people who are crying conspiracy theories or they're trying to hide this and hide that, that's false. Okay, that's noise. Kill that noise. All right. It says here confirmed and probable counts. So there's a difference between confirmed COVID-19 deaths versus probable COVID-19 deaths. The CDC has been clear on that. It says, I'm going to read it. As of April 14th, 2020, the CDC case counts and deaths counts include both confirmed and probable cases and deaths. This change was made to reflect an interim COVID-19 position statement, and then they give you the PDF for it. You can read it, issued by the Council for State and Territorial Epidemiologists as of April 5th, 2020. Okay. The position statement included a case definition and made COVID-19 a nationally notifiable disease. Nationally notifiable disease cases are voluntarily reported to the CDC by jurisdictions. Okay. That paragraph kills that noise. Period. Then they give you the definition. A confirmed case or death is defined by meeting confirmatory laboratory evidence for COVID-19. A probable case or death is defined by one of the following. It meets clinical criteria and they put and in big letters, and epidemiological evidence with no confirmatory laboratory testing performed for COVID-19. So the point here is that total caseload number that we have is a mixture of confirmed cases by way of laboratory testing and then probable cases by way of clinical criteria and epidemiological evidence. Now, so what does that mean? So you may hear this whack or quacky rumor that hospitals and doctors are being forced to put down everybody as a COVID-19 patient and this, that, and the third. Nowhere on any official recommendation from the CDC. Matter of fact, the CDC doesn't even do that. They're really talking about the national the Organization of Vital Statistics is the one that deals with death certificates and marriage certificates and all that other kind of stuff. They tell you how to fill out a death certificate, or they give you the guidelines on how to fill out a death certificate. And if you go to their website, they have a hierarchy. The coroner or the medical physician involved in a person's death, they have to list out the cause of death. And so there's a hierarchical um set of events that they list, starting with the immediate cause of death. And then they start to list the chain of events that leads up to death. And COVID-19, if a person has COVID-19 or tests positive for COVID-19, it is listed as one of the causal agents along that chain, but not the immediate cause of death. That's the difference. Okay. Somebody could die from an immediate cause, but because they have COVID-19, that COVID-19 condition may have caused complications leading up to the immediate cause of death. And the Vital Statistic Agency has been transparent on that the entire time. You can look it up. All right. So those two things, we can cover more in detail, but that really just kills that noise right there. All right. So I want everybody to understand that. So anybody that talk about inflating of the numbers and want to talk about, if I break my toe, am I going to be called COVID and stuff like that? That's nonsense. That's some exaggeration stuff. That's some quack stuff. All right. Don't listen to that. We got to stop making stupid people famous and stop listening to just some outlandish stuff. Give your ear to reasonable concerns. Okay. There are some valid concerns out there. There really are. And I don't want to dismiss those. And I don't want to sound like I'm dismissing people's valid concerns. But when people start talking about, the virus is not even real, or, introduce the virus so that they can give a vaccine to everybody to reduce the Earth's population. When you start hearing that stuff, nah, you got to stop people in their tracks. That's what people who are stuck on stupid. All right. So I just want everybody to understand that. And that's my 2 cents. I don't give it life. Okay. People got valid concerns. Hey, I want to hear it. All right. Cause I have some valid concerns, all right. But anyway, so that's it. I know it's late. I'm just trying to just do a last little look up on the chat and make sure that I didn't miss anybody. Let's see. People will still go into the hospital and people will still be infected. Yeah, I'm not sure what Shesmu, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Let's see. I thought if you're on YouTube, then you're an expert. Oh boy. Well, they say an African CDC professional was fired for skewing numbers. He said, no, I've heard of cases that people have put COVID on death certificates for people who died of other causes. Okay, so let's okay, let me add this to what I've already said. Okay, technically, the cause of death for everybody is cardiac arrest. Did you know that? If you didn't, now you know. Okay, technically, the cause of everybody's death is cardiac arrest. Okay, but they do not list cardiac arrest for everybody's death.
That's a great point.
Okay, I'm gonna reiterate that point. Every human being's cause of death is cardiac arrest. But you're not going to find cardiac arrest as the cause of death on everybody's death certificate. I want to point that out first because it's important, because the listed cause of death is something that coroners and medical examiners and some physicians are trained in order to list out a cascade of events that leads to that cardiac arrest. Okay, and we have names for certain conditions. And so it could be pneumonia. It could be, and I'm not a doctor, so I don't have a whole bunch of these names in my head, but a lot of different conditions are listed when it comes to people's death, the cause of death. Okay, so their job is to trace out some of the things that lead up to the ultimate immediate cause of death. And so um, COVID-19, because it's brand new, and because the that organization I just mentioned, and I'm not sure if y'all can see that clearly because it's not showing clear on my screen. Um, the organization, let me see if I can read it real quick. It is the Council for State and Territorial Epidemiologists. Okay. They put out a position statement so that COVID-19 could be a nationally notifiable disease. And it's because of that also why insurance companies can include that in your filtering or questionnaire and all this other kind of stuff to base your insurance rates and things on as well. Okay, so it has consequences and implications for what they're doing, and so that allowed it to be a disease that's listable on that causal chain that leads up to death. Okay, so I just want everybody to understand that. If they don't have a confirmatory laboratory result, then they have two other criteria, and the other two criteria is that they have to meet clinical criteria and not or but and epidemiological logic evidence. Both of those have to be at play if they don't have a confirmed laboratory test result. Okay, so I just want everybody to understand that. And there you go. So whether you trust the numbers or not, I would at least want y'all to leave everything I say. If y'all didn't get anything else that I said tonight, at the very least, be responsible, protect yourself and protect others by doing all of the three recommendations. Wear a mask when you're around people. Obviously, if you're driving in your car by yourself and you are or if you're home alone, then that'll be retarded to put a mask on. Wear a mask when it's appropriate. Wear them correctly. Practice social distancing. And what was the third thing? And practice good hygiene. Wash your hands. Try your best not to put your hands in your face, whether you have a mask on or not. Those three things. So if you never hear anything else or take anything away from what I'm saying, at least those three things. Wear a mask, social distance yourself, and wash your hands. All right. And then on top of that, I would like to add, obviously, eat healthy and eat clean. Because if by chance you do contract the virus, you want to provide your body with everything it needs to fight that bad boy off. All right. But no matter what you eat and no matter what supplements you take, it can't stop infection. Remember, infection happens first, then your body reacts. No food on earth is going to stop that infection. And if you don't believe me, then get yourself an optimal, get yourself a super plate of food, eat it, and then walk into a walk into a COVID-19 ward in the hospital and just eat off everybody's plate and just shake eat anybody's hand and do your thing and come back and let me know how that went. But nah, don't somebody go take me serious and do that. Don't do that. But all right, so that's it. It's 11:26. I got 4 minutes. Anything y'all want to say? Unbiased, Mo. Oh, Mo left. Unbiased, you got anything?
What was the question?
No. I said I'm wrapping up. I was saying you had
Okay, yeah. But bro, you gotta come on tomorrow and deal with that.
Okay, so we'll talk about it. I bring up more details.
Okay.
All right, so cool. So all right, so with that, let me see, make sure I didn't miss anybody.
Yeah, it's a great live, man. Good information. Matter of
Okay.
fact, I'm gonna re-air this.
All right, yeah, because I don't want to make this too long, just in case people want to check it out. So
Right.
I
I'm
just want
definitely
to
re-air it.
hit it and quit it. So listen, I appreciate everybody tuned in. Hopefully y'all have some takeaways.
I'm out with please, hotel.
Okay. All right, peace. Hopefully y'all had some takeaways from what I said. I don't claim to be an expert. I don't claim to be a doctor. This is not my profession. I have relatives who this is a profession of. They do this stuff all day, every day. But again, that doesn't transfer over to me. So I don't claim that. But I'm just trying to offer some information, share some information, be a voice of reasoning. And I don't want y'all to take my word and walk away as if, I'm that type of guy, that person. So do your research. All right. Take what I said and look into it. All right. At the very least, just be responsible, be smart, be responsible, and just stay safe. All right. So I'm gonna say peace to y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Hotep.